1987, very little celebration of the arrival of the statehood day. Whereas in all the other states in the country, you find lot of public buildings lighted up, and there are regular tourist conducted tours to see only the lighting. Nothing like that happens in Goa. Now that was in 87. Between 87 and 2000, which is the last part of yesterday, two important things happened. One thing was, let's say, between 91 and 1999 or 2000, there is so much of instability, tremendous instability, and there were 10 governments in 11 years, which would mean 10 chief ministers, some of them twice, thrice, but 10 times the chief minister changed in a span of 11 years. Political instability. The India Today magazine conducted a survey among all the states and decided Goa was the best state in the country on the basis of the parameters, social parameters, economic parameters. And then Parrikar became the chief minister in Goa in 2001, and he was called to Delhi to receive the Best State Award. So he went there, received the Best State Award. When he came, he got a real hero's reception at the airport, and then he said, "This is all because of my management style." And then some nosy activist asked the India Today, what is the basis on which you selected Goa as the best state in the country? He got a reply saying that we did it on the basis of data between 1990 and 1999. And we found that Parrikar was nowhere around that time. So that's one fond remembrance I have. Another remembrance I have is the year 1997, immediately after my retirement as chairman of MPT. Somebody organized a seminar like this, where the chief minister, the industries minister, and one more minister also participated, and one or two academicians and let's say activists. The subject was 10 years of development after becoming a state. So everybody started quoting figures. I mean, as usual, the figures from the Department of Statistics. When it was my turn to speak, I said, I proved on paper that all the development which took place up to 1999 was primarily before 1987, when this was the Union Territory. And very little was done between 87 and 99. The only area in which we showed some growth was corruption. Now that was highlighted by all the papers, and it was only on the request of somebody in the government that the All India Radio withheld its headline saying that so and so retired bureaucrat saying like this. Now this was the thing. The political freedom or the elevation of Goa to statehood may have resulted into some development, not more than what we got during the Union Territory, but there was a lot of corruption because it was newfound power, newfound freedom to take decisions. And then came 2001 and the aftermath. In all this while, mining industry, the manufacturing industry, agriculture, everything was progressing. Mining was also progressing in the Union Territory. And in 1996, when I left MPT, we were exporting about 15 million tons of iron ore from the Marmugao port. And in 2001, I think we came to around 20 or 21. This was a far cry from the 6 or 7 million at the time of liberation. And that was the prime mover for Goa's economy. We have neither a raw material nor the market here in Goa. So it is somewhat artificial to expect industries to start here unless we give them lots of incentives which are not possible beyond a certain limit. Initially, the government of Goa and the government of India gave lots of incentives, lots of industrial units which cropped up here and moved out when the incentives stopped. And today we are in a situation where there is some sort of I would not call it a depression, but some sort of sluggishness in the growth of industry. Goa basically, as a given fact, doesn't have much agriculture, and because of the high prices of land, whatever agriculture was there is being reduced. But in the Union Territory, agriculture did show some positive signs. Industry, slowly the industrial estates started growing. There was small scale industry, there was cottage industry, some progress was there. A few large scale industrial units like Siba, Zuari, MRF, to name a few. These came, but nothing by way of lots of large scale industry. And the economic growth continued primarily on the basis of mining. From 2001 to 2016, it has been primarily mining in the news. Either lots of pluses or lots of minuses alleged. Pluses, yes, from 2005 or 6, because of demand from China, suddenly there was a spurt in the export of iron ore from Goa. And I think sometime in 2011-12 or 10-11, we reached a figure of more than 50 million export. I think Mr. De Lima will have all the correct figures at his fingertips. More than 50 million tons of export of iron ore, which was obviously the highest in the country, because Goan iron ore cannot be, at this stage of technology, it cannot be used for making good steel. So what happens is it has to be exported, and the importing countries mix it up with high grade iron ore from other countries like Brazil, Australia, etc. From 2005-2006, we had tremendous economic boom in Goa. Everybody was very happy, and in the process there were allegations that environment was harmed, and the government and the companies which were involved in the production and extraction and export of iron ore should have taken more care, should have been more environmentally sensitive, and all the other things which go with that. The allegations of corruption in the system,